Welcome back to the Old Colony Cast, a podcast about all things Plymouth and surrounding areas. I'm Andy, joined by other host Hannah.
What's up?
And joined by our guidance counselor / editor Fish. That joke only makes sense to us.
It only ever will too. None of it will.
I feel like the second one we record is always like a joke for us.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one's also a joke for us.
Sometimes it depends on the conversation that happens before we get into the first one.
Usually nonsense and will never be explained.
The first one made sense, I think.
No.
I don't remember what I called him. All right.
See,
anyway.
We stopped recording and he immediately lost it.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm like a guppy. Even though you're a guppy,
I know,
you're a fish,
like, hey,
but I have the brain of...
God. Anyway.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I know. I don't think I do either.
I didn't come up with anything since in the 3 minutes since we hit stop in the last episode.
Wait. I do have something.
And yet somehow Hannah did. Jesus, go on.
I have something. Kind of upsetting news.
Oh, no.
Let me see if I can find it.
I don't like upsetting news.
Someone, a researcher that was part of our shorebird protection program in Plymouth, passed away.
Where did I hear this?
Was it from Hanna?
No.
God.
No, where did I hear this? I just heard this.
Yes. He was in Alaska.
And it was like a plane or a helicopter.
His plane went down or something, yeah.
Where did I hear this?
BBC?
Have you listened to this week's No Such Thing as a Fish?
I'm halfway through.
It might be that.
Do you think? My cousin posted an article about it. I can't find it now. But yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh no.
So they were from here.
I don't think he was from here originally, but
he was a Woods Hole researcher.
Yes, did his work here.
Maybe he was Australian?
A man I met. No, he was from America.
He's from America.
Yeah. Hold on. I found my cousin's page. Yep.
Just heard this. This is going to drive me insane. I'm going to have to go listen to 3 podcasts that I already listened to figure out which one I've heard this on.
So, deadly helicopter crash in Alaska's remote North Slope claimed the life of a prominent shorebird scientist at a research and conservation nonprofit in Plymouth. His name was Shiloh Schultz. That's why my cousin shared it. I believe she is related to him by marriage.
Okay.
So it might be that is her married last name.
What was the last name?
Schultz.
Schultz?
Yes. He led the efforts to restore American oyster catchers population at Manomet Conservation Sciences. He was 46 and lived in Kennebunk, Maine.
God, that's going to drive me crazy.
Yeah,
I literally just heard this story.
So, yeah, Shiloh Schultz. So sad. Had 2 daughters. He has 2 daughters. He's behind.
That is sad.
It is very sad, but I thought it would be a mention on here. Oyster catchers. Have you ever seen that bird?
No, I have no idea.
Not live, but I know what they look like.
It would be a killer on the life list. You see that little guy?
Person?
No, but in his hand.
Oh, that's a cool looking...
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I'm sure will be missed by many of his friends and family, and certainly his work will be devoid. So
it's either in No Such Thing as a Fish, or there was I was just trying to find a new podcast.
Okay.
And there was one I was listening to, and I don't even remember what the name of it was. It wasn't a great one, but they were talking about iron, and I was thinking of bog iron.
yeah.
But iron deposits that were found as meteorites that have crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking a lot about Alaska, so maybe that came up there.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
But I don't think it was a recent episode.
Well, we've lost Andy.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Seriously, he's
what are you and Hannah going to be talking about further?
Andy's going to get up, could be sitting over by his computer with headphones on, desperately trying to figure out what he was listening to.
It's going to drive me nuts.
He is gone.
What are you and Hannah going to be talking about while I'm thinking?
All right, so
He went to the list. I went off the list. He went to the list.
I heard.
Yeah,
I heard him.
We were talking about this as
Did you tell me what you're going to look up?
An episode. What?
We were talking about it, but I can't remember if you told me what you're going to do.
No, because I didn't know what I was going to do at the time.
All right.
Because I'm not doing the MBT. I'm not doing the train episode, Andy. I'm not.
I do remember having that conversation.
I'm not. Just because, no. So anyway, so I went on the list, and I figured I would pick something on the list that confused me because I didn't know why it was there.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, the last time
there's a few times that things are on there, and I'm like, I know I put that on there, but I don't know what that
yeah,
means.
it's like, I don't know why this is on the list. I was very confused because I more or less knew the story. So we went into the story of the ghost ship, the Mary Celeste.
I was wondering what that name was on there. I'm like, who is that?
Oh, wait, you don't know about the Mary Celeste?
No, I thought it was a person that I've been avoiding because I had no idea what the history was.
No, not
Did
at
I
all.
put it on there?
One of us has to have, and it definitely wasn't Hannah.
It's not the pizza. Celeste.
No, it's not Mama Celeste.
That's 99-cent. Well, they're probably like $2.
Yeah.
now.
No, they're still like
more.
$1.
Oh, really?
They're
Okay.
not. They got rid of that little silver circle that you used to microwave it on?
Oh, yeah.
They took it out.
And it's kept costs down.
It's
Ah.
like it's
I don't know.
What do you cook it on?
like
The
a
box?
plate.
Oh, sorry.
It used to be you put it on the box,
Yeah.
you fold the box back up, you put it on.
That's what made it crispy.
Yeah. Now it's just a meh pizza now.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't I've never liked frozen pizzas, but anyway.
I've never had a frozen pizza. At this point, the cost of a frozen pizza is so bad that it is never going to be worth it.
Mm-hmm. I know, I agree with that.
Yeah.
They're just nice to have.
I don't mind. Actually, I don't mind a Cape Cod Cafe pepperoni frozen pizza.
Okay.
They're like $6. They're stupid cheap. Yeah, $6 is not bad for like
I
a
usually keep Elios.
home style, like
Not a
actually
sponsor.
made like
Well,
right
neither's Cape
right
Cod
at
Cafe.
Neither's Cape Cod, but
Cape
yeah.
Cod Cafe, like, and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elios is edible.
No, this is actually
Yeah.
like I'm not upset to be eating it, which is
It's more. It's not that I'm upset. It's more just that like I don't feel like making anything. It's super late.
Mhm.
I just need to put something in my stomach.
Gotcha.
Okay. So anyway,
Anyways,
We're talking about a boat. I'm pretty
so
sure.
this is not a pizza.
What does
This
this have
has
to do with
nothing to do with
pizza?
pizza. At some point,
I know the Mary Celeste.
At some point,
don't
it
remember
ends
the
up in
connection.
Italy, but it's still not about a pizza. So the ship that would become the Mary Celeste was originally built in Spencer's Island, Nova Scotia, in 1861, and she was originally named the Amazon.
Damn Bezos.
Yeah, no, like this was like
He's
Had a big
got his-
smiley face on the
Yeah.
side of the boat.
just a little swoosh. Yeah,
He's
ship
ship
always
everywhere.
got there the next day. It was amazing.
He's omniscient.
Yeah.
He is the beginning. He is the end. Okay. Anyway,
Yes. God. Also, not a sponsor.
no.
We will never be. God, jeez. So anyway, the ship was called the Amazon because it was basically the first grown-up size ship built at the shipyards there.
Mm-hmm.
And since most ships are named after women, they basically just name it after the biggest, strongest kind of woman they can.
Makes
So,
sense.
Amazon. And then her first initial captain was a guy named Robin McClellan, who was also one of the co-owners of the ship.
And he's from Massachusetts.
No, he is from... No. Look, we don't get to Massachusetts until the end of page 1.
I'm pretty sure that I put this on the list. I don't remember the
Like,
connection.
we don't get to Massachusetts until the end of my first page of notes, and I write
Okay.
smaller than Hannah does. So this
Yeah.
might be a bit. So, this ship is... I do not believe in curses.
But this is one of those things where you're like,
This
I
is
could
one of
be
those
wrong.
ships that I have to state that I do not believe in curses
Yeah.
before talking about the ship. Because, whoo, boy. So, anyway, Captain McClellan was the first ship of the Amazon. The Amazon...
he was the first ship.
He was
Captain.
first captain of
Captain.
the Amazon. No, he was... Yeah. Don't worry. He's not long for this story.
Okay.
Okay.
He goes to the town of Five Islands, which is a town named after Five Islands, is on the mainland. It bugs me, to pick up their initial load of wood. At that point, he falls ill and dies. The
Okay.
first thing ever delivered by this ship is the body of its first captain to his widow.
That's a ghost ship right there.
Mm-hmm.
This is whew, boy, this is where we are. That literally the first thing ever, like, he passes away. They bring it back. The ship pulls back into the original port. The wife comes out going, "What in God? What are you back here for?"
But she had Prime, so she was in charge of shipping.
Yeah. He came back overnight. Okay.
What year was this again?
This is 1861.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were calling people of the Amazon, like Amazon.
No,
women
like
have,
Amazonian.
The Amazon, like that Amazon women come from Greek mythology, right?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
So, Hanna.
You know the character Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
She's not a superhero. She's an Amazon.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But not
no.
like from the...
And I just thought it was from the Amazon.
Oh.
No.
I know she is
other
like
way around.
I know she is of like a totally different like thing,
Yeah.
but I thought it derived from people of the Amazon.
Okay, so
Ah.
as a giant sidestep, so in ancient Greek mythology, the
Yeah.
Amazons were a tribe of warrior women who were. You okay over there?
Just
Was
like
the Amazon named after them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're not getting into that now because
All right, listeners, you're missing a really great Hanna
Hanna-
face right now.
we just broke Hanna.
oh my god. Okay.
So anyway, the second captain of the Amazon was a guy named John Nutting Parker. Also
And he's
Canadian.
from Massachusetts.
Nope. Also Canadian. He took over as captain and made their initial trip to London. Eventually,
Okay.
first he had to stop off in Eastport, Maine, where he ran into some fishing equipment and had to stop for repairs.
Did he die?
Not yet.
Okay.
At that point, after stopping for a couple of days to fix the ship, he finally made it to England, unloaded, picked up the new cargo, and on the way back out, ran into a ship in the English Channel and sank it.
Did he die then?
Wait, he's saying
No.
the Amazon?
He
or
hit,
he's-
no,
he
the
sank another
Amazon hit a smaller ship.
and sank the
That
smaller
ship
ship.
sank.
ship? Okay.
But again, this is the first actual voyage has cost the first captain's life, whatever fishing equipment was in Eastport, and then another ship in the English Channel.
Okay.
Wow.
Go. Yeah. So, and this was like their initial trip. It eventually cleared up. So this is like another 6 years and 2 captains later.
Okay.
So now we're on to a dude named Captain Thompson.
He's from Massachusetts.
No, and also Hanna, because I know you'll care. In between, after the original Captain Parker left the ship,
Yeah.
he did drown a couple years later.
Like
So he
had nothing to do with the ship.
but again, he did die.
But it's
Okay.
a curse, The curse
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm
have
just
to
saying-
happen on the ship.
You asked
No.
if he died a couple of times. I just wanted to
I just was assuming a lot of
Yeah.
people were going to die.
a
on
lot
this
of
boat.
people. It's fewer than you'd think.
Okay. Just mishaps happening,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
Things go badly.
Sounds unfortunate.
So
Harry.
yeah. So and now we get to Captain Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love this guy. This guy is nuts. So at one point they were in port in Canada, and he basically got a message from the owner saying, "Hey, keep the boat where you are. We're sending a new captain to replace you." His response was to basically kick off the member of the crew who was related to the owners, and then sail up to Cape Breton, which is in northern Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then beach the ship
Okay.
Wow.
in a storm. And then right back and say, "Hey, just so you know, the ship's wrecked. You're going to have to get up for salvage." And then a week later, another guy claimed the ship, and I'm doing air quotes here, as salvage, and then registered it and just sailed away.
Sick.
So
Interesting.
basically, as far as I can tell,
Was this other guy a friend of the...
there is a non-zero chance that they at least knew each other.
Okay.
But yeah, basically he found out he was getting fired and just ripped the ship off and had it get sold. The ship got eventually purchased by an American, and as an attempt to avoid paying import dues on a ship, renamed it the Mary Celeste.
How does that avoid the import?
He was hoping they wouldn't notice that it was another ship beforehand. Basically, he renamed the ship so they wouldn't know that it was the
Okay.
Amazon out of Nova Scotia.
okay.
Got it.
So it's the Mary Celeste out of, I don't know, Eastport or whatever.
So it was just kind of like a
It was
paperwork.
I was trying to scam the paperwork so we wouldn't have to pay the import fees. And it's like, I put a lot of work. It's a new ship. He didn't, and it wasn't. So
That's the ship of Theseus kind of.
yeah, basically, it's very much the Mary Celeste Theseus. So he was obviously a sketchy dude and not great at business. So the ship was seized by his people who he owed money,
Okay.
not the mob like banks,
All right.
Mm-hmm.
and was eventually sold to a guy named James Winchester
Who's from Massachusetts?
from New York. He had to do a lot of repairs to the ship, and also ended up.
It's hit a lot of stuff, so I'm not surprised.
It's had a time. So the ship has gone through a lot, and at this point has also now been refit to be longer, wider, and they've added a second deck.
Okay.
Because you can do a lot of weird stuff to ships, and that concerns me.
I was on a cruise for my honeymoon, and of course you don't really find out until after you're on board, but the ship was sod.
Oh, they cut it in half,
cut it in
stretched
half,
side, and stuck a new middle in?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 And I was like, wow, I feel like you shouldn't do that.
No, and yet it is incredibly common to do on ships,
Yeah.
Wow.
which is terrifying. Because it just seems like it shouldn't be okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, as part of that, he had to sell shares in the ship to kind of like raise the funds. And this is where we introduce Benjamin Spooner Briggs of...
New York?
No, he's from Wareham.
Oh, my God.
okay.
Like, he's super local.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice
So
guy.
anyway,
local
What was his
guy.
name again?
Benjamin Spooner Briggs.
Okay.
And
So Spooner Briggs like a hyphenate last name?
no, the Spooner is his mother's maiden name.
Yeah, I was just wondering if like is that the Spooner like
He might be.
okay.
Of
I
the
looked.
Of
Spooners?
the famous
I-
Spooners?
He might be like a Spooner, like the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was born in Wareham in April of 1835, and he is the son of another Captain Briggs. And most of his family also went to sea. He's not the only captain. Like, his brother was also a captain. And I could not find... I, like, got a little distracted deep diving this. He is 100% descended from pilgrims.
Yeah.
I could not tell if any of them came over on the Mayflower. Like, there were definitely a couple who came over on, like, the Anne, which is
Okay,
like
yeah.
one of the next ships.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell if he was a Mayflower descendant.
Okay.
And I spent like half an hour doing that. I'm going through like genealogy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm so
Did you go to
close.
the Mayflower Society?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He wasn't listed, but I don't know if he would be like famous enough to be one of their like famous
Yeah.
Right,
descendant
yeah.
things. Because, yeah. So he got married to his son. He eventually married his cousin, Sarah Cobb.
I thought you were going to say that.
Married his cousin.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what you did at the time.
Sarah
Yeah.
Cobb sounds familiar.
She's
Of
also known
corn
for the
fame.
story.
I think I like worked with someone with the last name Cobb.
It was definitely
Oh,
not
no,
this
I
one.
know a Cobb. Okay, I'm going to move on.
Okay.
I don't need to
And they had two children, Arthur and Sophia. So now we're up to 1872, and Briggs is now he is now the captain of the Mary Celeste. And on his first mission,
Wait, this was it was launched in like the 1860s, right?
it's been 11 years.
Okay, go on.
This is 11 years
It's
into the
like,
ship.
that seems
This
fast
is-
for all of that.
In that decade, the ship has sank another ship, bounced off whatever, gotten beached, been used in some kind of fraud, probably twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First captain died.
Yeah,
It's been cut
first
in
captain
half.
died. Second captain drowned later. We're up to like the fourth captain. It's not getting any better. His job as the captain of the Mary Celeste was to deliver 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol to Genoa, Italy. And denatured
Cool.
alcohol is like industrial alcohol. It's not for drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make a point of that early.
I mean,
It's not for drinking.
if you're not going to try.
You're not. You know why? Because you're not blind, Andy. Your glasses still function. So he had the cabin of the Mary Celeste during the refit kind of expanded so he could take his family with him on the trips. So he took his wife and his 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, with him on the journey. His son, Arthur, was left with his grandmother because he was in school and he didn't want to pull him out of school for a several-month journey across the Atlantic. And then on November 7th, they left for the Atlantic. Now we're jumping to December 5th.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadian brig Dea Gracia, I think. It's Latin. I'm lost.
Okay.
Saw a vessel sailing erratically about 6 miles away. They sailed up to it, and a couple crew members rowed across to find the Mary Celeste empty, of all people.
This is why it's famous.
Yeah, this is...
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the ghost ship Mary Celeste.
You can keep calling it that. I
sorry.
didn't know about it.
Like, this is one of those things that I've known for so long that I forget that sometimes I have very narrow focuses and I end up deep down there.
That's crazy.
I think I was watching something on this, and they mentioned Wareham.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Cool, I'm
god!
going to put that on the list.
Okay. So they found... The ship had obviously been through some stuff. Things were wet. It had been raining.
Yeah.
A couple of the hatches were open. One of the lifeboats was gone. And along with some navigational equipment like the sextant and the astrolabe kind of thing, the compass. Basically stuff you would be navigating with a small boat. The ship's final log was dated to November 25th, so about 10 days before.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of off of Santa Maria. It's one of the Azores, so kind of,
Okay.
Eastern Atlantic, kind of near Africa. So the ship had drafted almost 400 miles in those 9 days. And as the ship was abandoned, but still afloat, despite having about 3 feet of water in it, but you're fine.
Yeah.
The captain of the Dea Gracia sent 3 crew members over to sail the ship into Gibraltar.
Okay.
You mentioned the last date of the log. Did it say anything specific
No.
on it? Oh, okay.
It
just normal
They just been
log.
dealing with there had been
Captain's
stormy
log.
weather, but there wasn't anything like
Start date.
Still in the ocean.
Yep, still at
Ship
sea.
still cursed.
Still going east, we think. So they sailed the ship into Gibraltar as salvage. And again, 3 guys sailed this ship for like 2 weeks to get it into port, which is nuts because it is a 100-foot long ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big boat to sail. So they got there, and they, of course, when you claim a ship as salvage, they hold a tribunal to kind of,
Make sure you didn't
make sure you
get rid of the crew.
Make sure you're not
Yeah,
a pirate,
got
and do things like figure out, like, oh, what happened to the crew? Are you legally allowed to salvage this ship?
Right,
How much do you
right.
get paid? The usual. Unfortunately, the salvage tribunal was conducted by a guy named Frederick Solly Flood, who, hold on, I want to direct quote this because sometimes there is a historian who very much did not like that man. And let's see. I don't know if I'm going to find it. I don't want to lose my mind. Oh, here we go. Let's see. He was a man whose arrogance and pomposity were inversely proportional to his IQ. And the sort of man who, once has made his mind up about something, couldn't be shifted. So he had decided that something sketchy had gone on and was absolutely going to find the criminal. And decided it was most likely the guys who brought the boat in.
Which, if there was something shady,
Which would be, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, well, no, because the ship's been adrift for like a week and a half, and we left the U.S. 10 days after they did. We're not fast enough to have caught them.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like, physically,
Unless unless it was actually a drift.
like they
Yeah,
were saying, did you get ahead of them and wait? It's like, we're not that fast. Our ship is not fast enough to
Get ahead of them,
of another ship.
Right.
We're sailing the same ocean they are. It ain't happening. So he was like a very difficult about the whole thing. The ship's owner, James Winchester, I almost said flew over, sailed across, because this was dragging on for months.
Yeah.
And it just, like, there was no there. There was no evidence of foul doing. Every time they said there was, it's like, oh, there's blood on the captain's sword. It's like, no, it's just rusty. And, this rope's been cut. It's like, it hasn't been cut. What are you talking about? You're lying. And eventually they released the ship to make it to Genoa.
Yeah.
But they did pay out the salvage crew about £1,700, which was about less than half what they thought they were going to make, because he assumed that they had done something sketchy and did not want to give them the money.
Oh, okay.
So that is roughly where like the disappearance goes. If you want into fun,
Aliens. It was aliens.
oh, aliens is an option.
I knew it.
It's So all the usual things. Aliens, UFOs, a giant sea octopus that took the crew.
And one of the
And
life rafts.
one of the boats. And also the ship's, and also the ship's compass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing else. And then, like, you know, it's like, oh, you know, the ship's kind of been fraud adjacent a lot. Did Winchester commit fraud? It's like, no, he didn't play with the insurance, which is usually what you would do with the ship.
Yep.
Like, you overinsure it, something goes wrong, you get paid. It's like, no, there was a lot of very expensive alcohol on that boat. Like, oh, did the two captains of the Dea Gracia and the Mary Celeste like conspire to
make it look fishy?
To make it look like something happened? And it's like, well, one, we don't know that they know each other. Two, you know, Captain Briggs left his son behind.
Sure.
And I'd assume that unless your kid has incredibly bad vibes, you're not disappearing with your wife and your other kid and leaving him behind.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't think
Incredibly bad.
I don't think Arthur Briggs was like a sketchy enough child to be abandoned by his parents.
Like the Omen.
Yes.
He's like,
Yes.
we're just going on it.
Yes, unless this kid, unless he was the Omen kid.
He's Damien.
Yes,
We're
he was not Damien Briggs.
Going
I think
on
we're
a trip.
okay.
You have to stay. You're in school.
Yeah, you have to stay in your school. We're fine.
And we're going to go on this cruise ship.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, nothing. And then,
if,
you know,
if something happens, it's in God's
Yeah.
hands.
and then you go around. It's like, oh, was it pirates? It's like, well,
None of the
they would have
alcohol
taken.
was still there.
They would have taken if they would have left the people and taken the boat, they wouldn't have.
Right.
So it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, no, they're not leaving that behind.
What happened?
Okay, so this has come across, and like I did a lot of reading onto this. This seems like the most plausible story.
Interdimensional Loch Ness monster attack.
Okay, this now seems like the second most plausible
Yeah.
argument.
Is it like they got like psychosis?
A little, not quite. So they were sailing with a hold full of barrels of alcohol,
Yeah.
some of which leaked because they're wooden barrels full of alcohol.
Yeah.
And alcohol has a lot of fumes.
Yeah.
And ideally, when you were sailing, you would, in nice weather, keep the hatches open, kind of let the fumes air out to, you know, because
Yeah.
alcohol fumes are also super explosive. Unfortunately, they had to spend the first 2 weeks of the voyage like battened down because the weather was awful. So they finally got to hit a spot of clear weather, open the hatches, but because it had been so long, it was it could be very one. The fumes were not great to be around. Two,
Yeah.
absolutely worse for a 2-year-old to be around. And 3, there is a non-zero chance that there could have been an explosion on board. Because in 2006, a group of Canadian scientists kind of recreated the hold and set off an alcohol explosion. And you can make an explosion without leaving a bunch of char and ash behind. So you can have the boom without like the char,
Yeah.
which cool. But also, if you're on the ship and that happens, you're gonna, you know what? We're gonna get in the lifeboat. We're gonna tie the lifeboat to the ship. And we're gonna hang out at the end of the rope, and then we're gonna let the ship air out for a bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is a perfectly good plan as long as the seas stay calm. If, say, the wind picks up and your ship starts sailing off without you,
Right.
and you're in a little rowboat, the speed at which the ship is going will either destroy the boat or flip it or break the rope. So there's a non-zero chance that they were trying to avoid the toxic explosive fumes. And the worst possible thing happened. The wind picked up and they got a bit left in their boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean,
Oh.
where you are never going to be found in a rowboat in the 1870s.
So sad.
Like, you're doomed.
Yeah.
So that is, it seems to me, the most plausible option. And it's also the one that his brother-in-law believed.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that he's a good captain. He would choose the one that protected his family, and then just the worst possible option. So that seems like the best argument.
Yeah.
And so that's probably what happened to him.
Then that would make sense that you would take the navigation stuff with you,
right.
Yeah.
but
And then
not
it's like,
necessarily
Yeah,
other things.
yeah. And it's
you
like,
know?
look, we'll come back for the rest, but, you know, let's
Yeah.
make sure we have the boat and we're like 6 miles away from this island. We can just go that way in case. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, so that was most likely the end of the 10 people on the Mary Celeste.
So even though they were like, what'd you say, 6 miles away from that island, no one, like they...
The problem is the wind was blowing out.
Oh,
so there was no way they'd be able to, even if the boat had been cut loose, there was no way they'd been able to row 6 miles into the prevailing wind. They wouldn't have made it.
Got it.
So now one of the main reasons this became kind of like the famous ghost ship, because this, like, it's happened before. It's happened since. But the reason this one became like the big one is in 1884, Arthur Conan Doyle published a short story called J. Habakkuk Jepson's Statement, which is a fictionalized account of the Mary Celeste. He screwed it up. He did call it the Mary Celeste, so he changed the name of the ship, but not the name of the other ship that finds it. And also, he basically changed everyone's names. He changed details. He added passengers. The way the story works is there's a black crew member who hates white people and is killing all the white people on the ship. And it's like, it's awkward. It is very awkward. And, you know, the main character survives because he has a special rock that was part of it gets weird. And it's... Look, Arthur Conan Doyle was a weird... projection. Arthur Conan Doyle was a weird dude.
No kidding.
He both created the most rational detective in history of literature and believed in fairies.
And also was worried that he would be only remembered for creating the most famous detective of all time.
Was worried that was going to be his only legacy. It's like, buddy, most people have never done anything that good. Doyle was a weird dude. So, and now... we've gotten to the end of the cast. We have to get to the end of the actual ship itself, because it gets kind of dumber.
Okay.
So at this point, the Mary Celeste has the worst reputation possible. It is a ship beset by tragedy and disappearance and wrecks, and it, like, everyone thinks it's cursed at this point. Everyone. It's got a bad rep, and it gets sold 2 more times in the next 11 years, and also has another captain die.
Sick.
Yes, that's kind of what happened.
Like
he got sick and died.
4? That's 4? That's 4.
4. Yeah, we're 4. 3, like, on-duty deaths and 1 eventual. And it ends up getting owned by a guy named Wesley Gove out of Boston, and captained by another Captain Parker. This one's guy is Gilman.
Okay.
The ship is now 20 years old and has been losing money for more than 10 years. So Captain Parker decided that the best way to make money off the ship is...
fraud.
Yeah, like you do with the Mary Celeste. You commit fraud. He conspired with several Boston shippers to load the ship with a bunch of crap and then insure it like it was filled with, things of actual value.
Mm-hmm.
And then he... basically, he overinsured it for roughly $1 million in today's money.
Okay. And
then he set sail for Haiti. And as he was pulling into Port-au-Prince, there is a reef kind of on the way in that everyone knew was there. And his choice was to load up on the sail and just plow full force into it and break the bottom of the ship. So at which point he, got in a rowboat, sold some of whatever he could salvage, and filed insurance claims and called it a day.
Did he get caught?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because here's the thing. When you load up a bunch of garbage and insure it as valuable, the one thing you should not do is then try to sell it.
Yeah.
Like, if they had just tossed it all in the ocean and let the ship go and not, try to sell any of it, he might have had a chance, but unfortunately, he sold it to, the consul in Port-au-Prince, who said, "Hey, this is terrible. What are you doing?" And got word to the investigators.
Yeah.
And, so...
those appraisers had a field day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Parker and the shipping companies in Boston were charged with both insurance fraud and a crime that I had never heard of before, barratry.
All right.
Oh.
Okay, so barratry can best be described as anything willfully damaging a ship that you are responsible for, but not the owner of.
Oh, interesting. I never heard that.
And in the 19th century, that's a death penalty offense.
Yikes.
Whoa.
Did
So-
this guy die?
Everyone, this is the 19th century.
They all died
Everyone in the
eventually.
story is dead.
No,
Yeah,
but
even the
because from that.
No. So the problem is they did the fraud trial first,
Yeah.
and the fraud trial ended up in a hung jury. Partly because some of the jurors were absolutely not going to did not want to prejudice the jury of the Barrowtree trial because they were doing fraud. But if you're guilty of fraud,
Then the Barrowtree.
and then the Barrowtree trial, all of a sudden, like, oh, you're hosed, buddy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and some of them were going, look, I'm not comfortable doing a death penalty offense for this.
Yeah.
Reasonable. So instead of the expense of trying that again and then going to the Barrowtree, I believe this was the state of New York. It was either Boston or New York, but they decided to let bygones be bygones almost. Where, look, you pay back all the money, we won't charge you.
Wow.
Like, just give us the money back, whatever. I mean, at this point, Parker was like, your career was ruined at this point. You're the guy who wrecked his own ship. Everyone knows you did it. You're unemployed. He died 3 months later in poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, the Mary Celeste is wrecked. No one has found the wreckage.
Interesting.
About 25 years ago, do you know who Clive Cussler is? Either one of you?
No.
Did you ever watch?
We doing that?
Okay, Clive Cussler is a writer. Do you ever watch like Sahara with Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
those are
movie. I
based.
love that movie.
Yeah, that movie is based on a series of books that Clive Cussler writes.
Okay.
Wrote because I think he passed away. He was also a big sea exploration dude and would go like in his own ship and go like looking for shipwrecks. It was his thing.
Okay.
And he says that he found wood on the wreck that is roughly the same age. But they later were able to work out that it was like 20 years too young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so thus they could not make it like it was not part of the wreck. The ship was afloat when this was done, when the boat trees were still alive.
Yeah.
And I believe that's all I got. So that is
That's a fun one.
Yeah. I had
that's
no
the Mary
idea about
Celeste.
that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
like
did that.
that is the ghost. Yeah,
I'll take credit for that.
Yeah, because I'm 100% sure I didn't write that down, but I was going down the list and it's like, okay, I know why this is here. I know why this is here. I know why this is here. Why did we write down Mary Celeste?
That's so funny.
Like, I know the story of the Mary Celeste. Why does that have he was a pilgrim. Okay.
A Wareham connection.
He's
of
a
all
guy
things.
he's a guy descended from pilgrims from Wareham.
Yep.
That's
That's
crazy.
cool.
That is why he is here.
I like
Cool.
it.
All right.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
This is the part where we stop talking.
Why was that a question? And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/Inebri-art to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at Inebri-art.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or at Inebri-art6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebri-art, and all the other shows on the Inebri-art Network, which you can find at Inebri-art.com. Thanks again for listening.